Good evening everybody, and you're welcome to day 3 of the Naomh Eanna Cheltenham Preview 2021. How are you, Billy?
Great form, Michael. Have to say, like most of our punters I'd say today, great day's racing. So it'd be nice to go through some of the results and see how some people are faring out in our own Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah, and the great news is, guys, we've got the day 2 results in, as well as the day 1 from yesterday. And we're also going to look at the overall, how we're all doing up to this point. So there's going to be a lot of talking points tonight. We've a lot to get through. With a super day's racing today, as Billy said, and we have a strong day's racing tomorrow as well. And we have an exclusive then also on the shunter. Okay, so we're going to just drop back to day 1 and the leaderboard. It only came through late last night, very late. Kevin Malloy there just couldn't wait for it to come out. But look at Kevin, it got out in the end, and you were up thereabouts anyway. But look, it was a very strong start for the Naomh Eanna contingent. There was 16 people on 106 points. Now there was someone with 126 points, a Joe O'Neill from Adamstown. He picked the 5 winners on the first day, which was a fantastic feat. But we're going to go through the 16 names. Before I do you want any thoughts on today's racing, Billy?
Yeah, as I say, I think it was even probably better than yesterday as regards some of the results. Again, the Irish gave the old Brits a bit of a hammer again there today. I see where the one winner they had actually, John Joe O'Neill trained, I think was an Irish horse as well, but they claimed it as a British one. But you'd have to say, great day for the Irish over there. Some great victories altogether, you know. Good. Bit disappointed on it, and probably the same with yourself there, Michael, that there wasn't too much shamrock going around, and you know, it is our national day. You'd like to think that people would still recognise it, you know.
Well, sure, look at you have it there. You're looking very dapper. And look again, I was out and about this morning, Billy. There's only one question on people's lips: have you been talking to the bear yet?
Actually, I tell you, with this COVID-19 is very hard, but I was actually on a Zoom call to him this morning, him in the large bottle there, and he says he'll have nothing for us tomorrow, but he will give us not only the winner of the Cheltenham Gold Cup, but second and third as well. So, and he wants us probably to maybe do a little bit of sponsorship there for him as well, and just mention a few things maybe tomorrow evening. But he's alive and kicking, that's for sure, and the large bottle came in with 1 or 2 there for to give us a hand on it as well.
Ah, good. And Billy, I heard a rumour, and I know you know the bear. Is there any truth in the rumour that the Irish government are after getting them on board, and they're sending them out to Switzerland to try and get an extra 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine?
I didn't hear nothing like that out this morning, but you know the bear, he keeps everything close to his chest. The one thing I did come around that he is probably in the next council elections, he might be throwing his hat into the ring there. So it's to do with the, basically, you know, he's not too happy that all these new houses that are being built, that there's no fireplace in them. So he's going in on the one, bring back the fireplace. Just talking to him this morning on that, so keep your eye on that one, Michael.
Fair enough. Right, we'll move on with the day 1 and the draw. So there was 16 names in it. We had Pat Doyle, Sandra Burney, Foxy Kavanagh, Shane Tompkins, Great Cully Cullen, Garrod. We had Naomh Eanna 3, which Tony Malloy would have done for the club. Louis Cullen, Tony Malloy, Sully O'Sullivan. Is that junior or senior?
That'd be senior. There's no doubt about that.
Paul Murphy, junior and senior. So father and son combination. We actually had 2 father and son combinations. We had Louis and Garrod Cullen, and we had Paul Murphy senior and junior. Paul Murphy, not alone can he pick horses, but he's the best man to kick a 45 in Gorey. On top of that, then we Declan O'Toole, Roisin Wheatley. And Roisin, I think you need to give a few tips to Antoinette, because we're going to look at the bottom 5 from day 1 too, and Antoinette is right down at the very bottom. So Roisin, give her a bit of a dig out, please. We have my uncle Dave Burney. We've got Shane McGuckian. We've got Bella Bellanova, and that's the 16. So what we've done is we've put the 16 names in the hat. Billy, I'll let you pull one out now, because my wife is in there, so I'd be worried if I pulled her out. Who we got?
Malloy, I think.
Tony Malloy. Tony Malloy, €20 going to you, Tony. So well earned, Tony. Tony's one of the organisers of this whole Cheltenham piece for Naomh Eanna. So Tony, that goes to you. Okay, so that's that done and dusted. So we can move on to the leaderboard for day 2. Actually, before we do, we better go through the results of the day, and then we can move on to that. Okay. So let's look at day 2. But before we do, I do have a point of clarification. Billy. Henry de Bromhead has been on, and you know you've been getting a bit of a doing now about some of the pronunciations, as have I. But he didn't appreciate you calling him Henry de Brown Bread last night. So I just wanted to point that out. Anything to say on that matter?
Well, the way his horses are going, he's probably second name as Brown Bread at this stage. He's making a serious amount of it at this stage, Michael. So, in fairness to him today, he's turning over the Brown Bread fairly well over the other side of the water.
Very good, very good. Right, look, we're gonna move on to day 2 and the results of today. Okay, and we do our champion tipster has come up trumps again today, so we'll talk about that man in a minute. But the first race today, the 120, was the novices hurdle, and look, there was only 2 horses really discussed there, Billy.
There was, and there were the 2 that sort of fought out in the end, but Bob Bollinger, you know, he was tipped by many yesterday. I think there was 3 of the guys. Liam Spratt had him, fair play to Spratty there. He had him. Again, your own Daniel Watkins, one of these guys that you've met and had a chat with, and Ulrich Burke. But the bone final now. Ulrich Burke. But
He's the London trader. That's right.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing, he knows his horses, and both him and Daniel Watkins, after yesterday and again today, they put up a fair performance. But our own local man there, the Bun Fennel, came in the second one there.
With Gaillard de Mesnil, that's right.
Like did you pronounce that one there, Michael?
There was only ever going to be one winner of the second race. It was the one everyone called out from every name. Every tipster had this horse as one of their naps for the competition or for the whole festival.
Yeah, and you'd have to say, looking at Willie Mullins after it there, he was a bit worried about him, the way he was jumping, but still at the end of the day there was only the one horse in it when you know, apart from 1 or 2 jumps that he got a bit close to, other than that he ran out an outright winner, and a fair horse for the future, that's for sure. Very
impressive. Then the third one, the handicap hurdle, we had a few different tips for this. Liam Spratt had You Raise Me Up, Bun Fennel had Craig Niche, Daniel Watkins You Raised Me Up as well. But it was one that an outsider caught us on that one. Anything on that one?
Yeah, Heaven Help Us, good outsider as well, and another Irish horse as well. There was a hat trick for us in the first 3 races, but it was a great result again, you know, and as I say, the Brits, they're sort of holding their head down at this stage, but you know, everyone say that Craig Niche, maybe they were looking for him to come across there. He came second, alright, but you'd have to say Heaven's Help Us won it fairly clear.
He did, and actually what's interesting is the trainer and owner, Paul Hennessy, who's a renowned greyhound trainer. So we were a little bit disappointed that JK, who will remain nameless, didn't come and tell us about this one. Any word why he didn't tell us?
No, he tell you he was a bit upset there with the OK Corral, as was a lot of people on that one, to be honest with you, and it took him a while, but he is back this evening. Got a late phone call there from the bomber and the JK, who's, as you know, is nameless at this stage, but there is a bit of a challenge put up here later on to see them, and we'll see how that one goes.
We're getting to that one, folks. Birchdale is a horse a lot of us would have had in that. It was an each way bet, that came in 6th. So then the big one of the day, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, and look, there was only one horse that we all spoke about, and that was, well, most of us spoke about, and that was Chacun Poursois. But Billy, you talked about this one last night.
Yeah, I like you do pronounce that as well. I pronounce Put the Kettle On, because I was just saying it there yesterday. It was a horse that I would have backed 1 or 2 times before, and you know, a lot of people just used to back him, you'd say, for his name, but he was a very, very good horse, and it was a great win, absolutely brilliant win, very popular win, as you saw after with the parade and he coming in there, but a good win and a good price as well, Mike.
Yeah, and Chacun Poursois was 3rd, so a lot of us would have got points on that. Then the last of the 5 races of the day, this was very much, there was 2 horses really up for grab that were discussed with this one.
Yeah, we had Easy Land, and then we had Tiger Roll. We had Daniel Watkins had the shady operator here, but the local boy came up trumps again there with Tiger Roll. Have to say though, it was a brilliant race and it was great. As I say, you know, the way things can go up and down for you, you know, with the Gordon Elliott thing, but this was his horse, still is his horse, and the way I said it there last night, you know, when he wasn't going into Grand National, maybe he had this one earmarked, and he certainly had from way out before that the finish ever came into it. Yeah. It was on his mind, and it was a brilliant race, and it was lovely to see him do it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And the last 2 races of the evening is the ones where you snake out the back of French's to try and get your money back. You had the handicap chase at 4:15. That was won by Sky Pirate. And Tukas had been tipped, it came through and for second place there. And then the last one was the bumper, and there was a lot of talk. Kieran Funge, John Liam Spratt, who else? The Irish Field would have tipped Kilcrude quite heavily, and again appreciated, same owner that had appreciated. We also had Paddy Burney would have tipped Remiles each way, and Daniel Watkins would have had L.A. Bell. But it was another horse that you discussed last night, Billy, that came through there.
Yeah, Sir Gerhard again. I think there was a Mullins combination there that came in, and Paddy really is always known for the ones at the end of the day. But a good win for the Irish again, which made it 6-1, and 2 days to go, and I think, what is it at this stage? I think we have 11 winners at this stage. It's fair going for the Irish.
And then there was one other tip you gave us yesterday that came through from Fab. I like to move it. That came in 9th. Ramiles came in 8th. So that's where that would have been where the bets went from the first day. So that's day 2, right? So results of day 2. How did we get on? We had two punters ended up on 105 points. We had a syndicate called Non-Spoy Knocked, which is a combination of Joseph Naughton and Vinnie Quinlan, 105 points, and we had Schmegs Keegan. Schmegs also committed 105 points, so a great day for both of the guys. So what we have is we've Non-Spoy Knocked, and we have Schmegs Keegan. So they go into the hat. So for the second €20, Billy.
Better look the opposite way anyway.
And it's Non-Spoy Knocked. So the second €20 goes to
Vinnie Quinlan.
Non-Spoy, Vinnie Quinlan and
Joseph Naughton.
Yeah, okay. So that's that part done. Where does that leave the overall leaderboard? So, right, let me move on. The overall leaderboard, where are we? Yeah, so overall leaderboard now with 200 points, the top 5. Non-Spoy Knocked is now number 1 on the leaderboard with 200 points. You've got Louis Cullen on 196 points. Podge Cronin, 190 points. So Louis and Podge now, they must be doing a few to do together.
Studying, plenty of time, I suppose, over the last few months there now for him to have it.
That's it.
To sit down and pick that team.
Yeah, and then there's another 13 in joint 4th on 185 points, and that's Roisin Wheatley, Dave Burney, Shane McGuckian, Barry Murphy, Sandra Burney, Paul Murphy Sr., Evan O'Dwyer, Shane Tompkins, Tony Malloy, Naomh Eanna 3, Tony Malloy, so Tony's obviously picking the same horses each night. Declan O'Toole, Connor Coon, and Sully O'Sullivan, junior or senior?
Senior again, I think, on that one.
Okay.
Interesting to see Sandra Burney there ahead of her husband. Bit like the jogging
There's
around the town,
really.
really.
About that, Billy.
well played to her, let's say that.
Yeah, you had to go there. And then look, we're going to look at the bottom 5 up to this point, right? So, and we've got John O'Connor. I don't think it's John from the Fowler now. I think it's John formerly of Church Street.
John of the Fowler is happy you said that.
We've got it could be John. We've got Porry Keegan. We've got Mary Shield. Paddy Burney. So I spoke to Paddy there to wonder, because he was 47 yesterday, and I watched the races with him today, and he was delighted that he'd had a few winners. But it looks like the technology might have got the better. But you have a different view on why Paddy's down there.
I thought myself he was on WhatsApp there, and he was doing a few rosaries for a certain amount of people there, and a few prayers, and he probably needs them himself tomorrow. I tell you too,
He does. Yeah. Mary MacDonald. I'd say that's Connor's mum.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dennis Howell is also thereabouts. So Aoife Parle, you were down at the bottom, but you made a good comeback there today. So you obviously put a bit of time and effort into it. Right, we're going to move on with day 3. So before we do, have we anything else to say now? Right, no, that's it. We're going to move on to day 3. Right. Okay, a lot of tips, a lot of different horses. So guys, you're going to have to really put your thinking caps on for this one. Okay, the first race, the 120, the Novices Chase.
Yeah,
what have we got there?
It's very clear across the board here. Naomh Eanna, it's Henry the Bromhead, I got it right that time, and Jack Kennedy. No one seems to, it's a bit like Monkfish, I think, today. No one seems to think that this horse is going to be beaten, But Dan Skelton and Henry Skelton again, they are due a big win here, and that Shine Blue as an Irish horse, and he'll come into the betting. There's a bit of money for him as well, but no one has seen any further of this Envoy Allen.
No, Willie Cleary, Tom Byrne, Bun Fennell, Daniel Watkins, Ulick Burke, all calling out Envoy Allen. Okay, the 155 is the handicap hurdle, and again, look at there's 3 horses that seem to be coming up, but there's a local connection with one of them actually. Michael Dwyer, son of Podge, Michael Dwyer, who's our involved in the club there on the committee. He texted me and told us to keep an eye on this one. I think there's a Blackwater connection to this house, but that could be clarified if I'm wrong on that. But where are we looking on that one, Billy?
On the one here, we have Imperial Alcazar. Then the Bosses Oscar. There's a few have tipped this one, and Paul Nolan has a horse there in each way bet. There's Mrs. Milner. Paul, the Wexford trainer, he's in there as well with Mrs. Milner. So there's about 3 or 4 horses people are interested in this one. There's no clear cut who they're going to be going for in this one, but the Bosses Oscar seems to be the number 1 tip.
Okay. So Colin Funge called out Imperial Alcazar, Liam Spratt, Bosses Oscar, Michael Dwyer, Bosses Oscar, Bun Fennell, Bosses Oscar, and then Paddy Burney has called out the Mrs. Milner each way.
There is a horse there's a bit of money for as well, and David Pipe, he hasn't got too many horses running, but he's a fair man to know his horse, and that's Brickley, and he's after coming in the betting as well there, Michael, so he'll be
that's Brickley from Park Avenue.
I don't know, it's Brickley the horse, I think it might be named after him, alright, but David Pipe there is training him, and it's an interesting one, but Tom Scudamore, David Pipe, fair combination there, so it'll be one to keep an eye on as well.
Okay, very good. The next one is the 2:30, the third race of the day. It's the Ryanair Chase, and there's 2 horses being spoken about in this one. One is in each way, and then the other I think is to win. So what are we looking at there, Billy?
We have Alloa again is Willie Mullins. Rachel Blackmore is actually on board for him there tomorrow. He won his last race. He's 11-2. He'd be one of the more favourites for to win it. And on this, I think. Looking at him here, is John Shield has him down as each way, and so has Paddy Burney has him down for each way. But the one Imperial Aura is another one here. That's a Kim Bailey, I think, and David Bass. I think they might have been running fairly well there today. But on see this rider the last day, but before that they had 3 wins. So they're the 2 that have coming out on top. There's an older horse there belonging to Willie Mullins, Mellon. He was a great horse, but he's getting on in age there now. But Willie Mullins and Brian Cooper. You never know, the Mullinses are going pretty well there at the minute.
Okay, and yes, on some of those, just when we spoke at the start of the week or on Sunday evening, we said like John Shield, who's in the bookmaking business, John had given us 3 outsiders. The first 2 didn't go according to plan, so we're hoping John can come up trumps with Aloha headed in each way in this race. Paul Fennell, who's on a hot streak at the moment, we never mentioned he had 3 winners on Monday, or on day 1. Today he had 2 winners. I called it out there. 2 winners, 2 seconds, and a third. So he's on fire there at the moment. He calls out Imperial Aura, Daniel Watkins Imperial Aura as well. Okay, so the next one is the 305, and that's the Stayers Hurdle. We've got 4 different tips here now from different people, so we'll work through those there now.
Yeah, and again, Sarah de Burley is one. Liam Spratt has tipped that. Flowing Porter by the Bun Fennell, who was a fair vindication there from Gary Fitzpatrick. Time Hill, Daniel Watkins, and the one that I sort of like myself there is Paisley Park. There's a lot of horses in this. It'll be hard enough for the picking, but Denise Foster there again. She might pull one with JP McManus horse. JP hasn't had too many winners so far, but he will get 1 or 2 before it's over. So the one I'm sort of is that Paisley Park. It's a nice horse. Won a good few races before. 2-1. Probably being around the favouritism, but again, you could pick any one of 4 or 5 probably to come through there on that one, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, and look, we've Gareth Fitzpatrick calling out Vindication. I'm going to have a look at that one. Gareth's shrewd enough operator, so I'll have a look at that. The next one is the one we've been warming up all week. The 3:40 p.m. It's the Handicap Chase, and this is the one that with the shunter, and the one that we've spoken about. This tip from early on in the week. No pressure, Shane. But the Shunter's one. It's probably going to go out at 4-1 favourite, or that's what it's looking like at the moment anyway.
Yeah, and he seemed to be waiting for this race, you know. But there is a challenge thrown down here, and
I believe so.
The guys who gave us that great tip that really didn't take off the last day, they're a bit hurt, and have decided to take on Shane and the Shunter, and they're going for a horse by the name of A Wave of the Sea, and that's coming from the great JK and the bomber himself there. So, and Joseph Patrick O'Brien and Mark Walsh is on board. The information that JK gave me was that they did meet over the Christmas, and A Wave by the Sea.
The two horses, the Shunter and A Wave by the Sea. Okay.
Yeah, and A Wave by the Sea came out on top. So there's a challenge put down to Shane on this one here now. So it'll be interesting to see how that one comes out.
I'm going with Shane. But Kieran Funge, another shrewd man when it comes to the horses, has given us one of his first tips of the week, and it's Caribbean Boy in the same race. Daniel Watkins went for Farclas. Is Farclas running actually? Is it on that list? I noticed he had a few tips there but didn't even run today.
No, and he's not on the list here either.
Okay, there was all anti-post from him. So the Shunter, Caribbean Boy, and A Wave by the Sea. Is it?
There is a horse there, and it's owned by JP McManus as well, but there's a lot of money after coming in for it there, and it's one of them ones, but it's a Sully Doc A is the name of it. Sully Doc A is the name of it, and there's a good few bob after coming in for over the last day. So again, JP McManus one. If JP put money on it, it would be coming in, that's for sure. So what we want to keep an eye on as well.
Okay. So then look, that's the 5 races that are part of this, the Naomh Eanna Cheltenham draw. But then there's 2 final races that day, and the next one, the 4:15, the novices hurdle. There is one horse, and there's a lot of talk about it in this race.
Yeah, it's Glens of Antrim. He's been tipped here by Ulrich Burke and Ulrich or Ulrich. I'll get him right eventually. The Glens of Antrim is the name of him, and again the boys don't be too far wrong when they pull a name, but there's a lot of horses in this race and a lot of jumping to be done. So I wouldn't go against any of them there. The Royal Kahala is another one that's by the tipster in the Irish field.
Yeah.
So there's only the 2 horses that they're going for here, but the Glens of Antrim is a William Mullins one, and John Joe O'Neill Jr. is riding him, and JP McMahon is on him. Would be a fair combination, and the second last race or the last race are usually ones that William Mullins comes out on top on. So it'll be, I wouldn't be backing again Emmanuel, to be honest with you. So
okay. And then the last race, none of the local tipsters had anything for the last. The handicap chase at 450. So we've Daniel Watkins with Plan of Attack, and the Irish field would have talked about Mount Ida. Have you anything on that one, Billy?
Didn't have anything. The last race is usually not my forte, to be honest with you. But again, the Plan of Attack is a horse that's out there, been out there for a while. Would have a good few wins behind it, but over the last 3 races it has been pulled up and 8. So someone must have got word somewhere on it. It's a Henry de Bromhead and a Rachel Blackmore, but you wouldn't go against them a lot of times either, and you'd have to say they're having a great Cheltenham so far. So the two there was a Plan of Attack, but the Mount Ida as well is one there that the tipster in the Irish field gave. Don't know a whole lot about them. They don't have a whole lot on them here either, but they're the 2 horses that have came up. So, and again, there's a lot of horses in it, and anything really could come out on top there.
Yeah. Okay. So look, that's it. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish up, Billy?
No, just on, there is a few anti-post bets that I've heard about that the JK from the great Paddy Powers has come to we might talk about them over the next day or 2. It's to do with the local championship, and there's 1 or 2 changes there with the sin bin and all that coming in. So I just heard 1 or 2 bets that's going on down in South Wexford at the minute. We might talk about them tomorrow evening. Okay,
very good. And just on tomorrow evening, look, we're coming under a bit of pressure to do one of these actually live and have a Twitter, have a feed coming through in messages. Now look, that could be Car Crash TV, but stay tuned for updates. We're thinking of doing it. I suppose the first thing Billy and myself need to figure out is how to actually do one of these live streams through YouTube. So we will look into it. We will try and do it before we finish up on Friday evening. Whether it's tomorrow evening or not, we're not sure yet. But that's it for this evening.
Yeah, there was a complaint lodged actually, Michael. Yeah, a few ladies have sort of lodged a complaint there that we're not looking at the camera enough.
Okay.
I know one of them was my mother. I don't know who the other one was, but
my mother said the same thing.
Well,
so
that's the 2 ladies then. So it was a great day's racing, and looking forward to another day tomorrow.
Yeah. Again, happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you all had a great day. Enjoy tomorrow's racing. Choose wisely. And we look forward to coming back tomorrow. Hopefully the leaderboard will be live and we can give everyone an update. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.